It's time for a MAGA cheer. Woo! Oh, we have good news tonight. Good news everywhere you look. So let's get this countdown underway. One big piece of news is that New Hampshire is excited. They're excited for MAGA. Who headed up there? President Trump, up on his beautiful plane. Woo! Nothing quite like it in the sky. I tell you, I'm so grateful that he has this because he uses this as a force for good around our nation. What did New Hampshire think?
Ta-da.
Oh, they loved him.
Oh, yeah.
They loved him. And we have great cause and great reason to be excited about what's happening quietly on the internet concerning the America First movement. And that is through Truth Social. Look at the numbers here just for this year, what's been going on. This is where Truth Social was. These are the number of followers that President Trump has. So maybe 1 million more are actually on the platform. But in January, 4.8 million. By June, 5.3 million. By October, 6.4 million. This thing is rolling.
Good.
Just when you consider think about it like this. 3,000 people
Look at those.
pile on to the platform every day.
Wow.
And these are in the months that would be considered slow months. Some months, as many as 10,000 people pile onto the platform per day.
Wow. Wow.
What's happening with those people? Well, number one, they're immediately plugged into MAGA and into President Trump and what President Trump is talking about each day, each week. They also finally get to experience true conservative media. They experience, I think for many people, they experience hope.
Yeah.
Because you can feel very alone out there. These are the same people that participate in boycotts going after wokeness all over. These are the same people that are beginning to participate in the polls. These are the same people that put pressure on congressmen, congresswomen, and light up the phones. They also participate in the parallel economy. They are buying Patriot-owned products and helping Patriot-owned businesses in their community. And number 8, and this is a big one, they are voting RINOS out in primaries. And and we're going to see this come this fall. We're in the fall. We're going to see it very shortly. And for every person who joins, there's going to be family and friends impacted. So their influence is big on family and friends. So remember, January 6th, that was the day that they kicked President Trump off of Facebook, off of Twitter, kicked many conservatives off. That's what started Truth Social. But the Democrats will come to really be sad about that decision. They will regret this day. If they could undo anything they've done the last 10 years, they would undo this day. Why? Because when they created Truth Social, remember, it's growing every day. It's not going backwards. It's going to continue to become what is known as a juggernaut. Let's see what Oxford Languages defines juggernaut as. A huge, powerful, and overwhelming force. That's what Truth Social is becoming. And as a result of that, we are winning in the media. Woo! This is big, big, big. Because the media influences everything in the nation as far as how we think about things. For instance, how did we know there was a fire in Hawaii? Did you meet anybody from Hawaii that told you so? No, the media informs us. How many of you have met someone who's just come over from Israel talking about the fighting? I haven't met anyone. How do we even know there's a conflict? So everything passes through the lens of the media. And good news concerning the media, people's trust in the mass media, that would be the mainstream media, continues to go down. So the influence of mainstream media on American thinking is decreasing, which is a blessing, which is a big time blessing. It's tied for as far down as it was in 2016. And taking a step back, if you really look at what this mainstream media is doing, what is their goal? The job of the mainstream media today is to make you think that the views of 10% of the country, this leftist, socialist, liberal thought, are actually the views of 80% of the country. And we know that's not true. But that's what the media will try to portray it as. Let me give you, for instance. Remember when Christine Blasey Ford came out, right? She's trying to take out a Supreme Court nominee. And she said, well, I have no witnesses, no details, and no evidence. And the media said, extremely credible, her words. Yeah. Then you have Tony Bobulinski talking about the Biden family whom he's worked with. He says, well, I have phone recordings, emails, texts, itineraries, and receipts. And what does the media say? Not credible. So, I mean, these guys are so in the tank, the media, for the Democrats, for leftist causes. It's really sad. Until enter Elon Musk is the new warrior out on the battlefield fighting against the mainstream media. And he's on. See, we thought initially, okay, he's just kind of a geeky guy. He likes rockets, he likes science, he likes some new cars. We're finding out that he really likes free speech, and he is a massive defender of virtue and free speech. Okay, maybe not virtue, but free speech. Free speech he is. And so right now, they're kind of like sisters in arms. You have Truth Social alongside Twitter, now known as X. And they are lighting it up on Twitter. They are very much lighting it up. Elon Musk going after these companies that are set up to suppress news, one of them being called NewsGuard. So Elon Musk must spend probably 3 hours a day answering different texts, working with X, and just doing a lot of reading. You see him commenting his views on multiple topics. One of these, a gentleman named Mike Benz, gave him a heads up. He's like, Elon, these guys are coming after you. NewsGuard is coming after you. And it's the founder, Jimmy Wales, one of the co-founders of Wikipedia. He's the guy, and they're going to put pressure on multiple countries to stop advertising on your platform and on conservative platforms. Be aware. And Elon writes at the top, he goes, this is crazy. This is crazy. And he goes on, when he refers to Tim Pool. Tim Pool came on, and he said, NewsGuard gave us a strike because we ran just 5 stories out of nearly 5,000 that quoted President Trump. Elon talks about NewsGuard. Now this is going out to 150 million of his followers, should they check on his comments. He says, what a scam. NewsGuard should be disbanded immediately. So he's throwing down the gauntlet and saying, I'm calling for this institution to be deep-sixed. Because we have a real problem with NewsGuard and these other suppressive, fact-checking organizations. In fact, mothers all over America are now having to have these conversations with their children. One like this: if you don't stop lying, you'll grow up to be a fact checker for Facebook. It's getting that bad out there right now. So we have Elon Musk. You've heard about how Douglas Mackey was sentenced to 7 months in prison for writing that meme about Hillary Clinton during the election time. So Elon Musk wants to weigh in on that. And he goes, you know what, that's crazy. He goes, that had no material impact on the election. And he pivots and he says, what prison sentences were given out to those who suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop information? That did have a material impact on the election. Yep. So he's just throwing out Hunter Biden laptop right on the table, telling people, well, you need to start thinking about this stuff. Also, a guy is talking about how in 1979, on that very day, October 17th, Jimmy Carter signed into law the creation of the Department of Education, even though the Constitution didn't call for it. And he talked about how federal intrusion has just kind of ruined the Department of Education. And Jeremy Wayne Tate says, get rid of it. What does Elon reply? Yes. Yes. He's like, I am on board to take down the Department of Education. So this is, he is addressing millions of people when he's talking about these things. They put up another hit piece against him, and he just comments, yet another tedious fake news story from legacy media. So he's just calling him out. Fake news. Hey, I wonder who, do you guys know of a guy that talks a lot about fake news? Yeah, he's starting to quote some Trump, I think. And he really decided to take the battle to a whole nother level. The New York Times, of course, ran that hit piece against Israel, claiming that Israel had bombed the hospital. It was not true. The New York Times never really said sorry. So you know what he did? He took their verified badge off their website on Twitter and said, you guys are not legit. This was very big. You have to understand why. Because Twitter has 528 million monthly active users all over the globe who now know that the New York Times is second rate. They are no longer considered even legit. So the mainstream media they're freaking out about this because Twitter is allowing a lot of conservative media to grow up in the place of that lame mainstream, rot gut media. So NBC News did a piece and they said, oh my goodness, there are 7 influential accounts on Twitter, on X, that are talking about Israel and Hamas. And here's the problem. When you look at legacy media, the mainstream media, the New York Times, CNN, BBC, when we talked about Israel and Hamas, we only got 112 million views. But when these 7 media accounts on Twitter talked about it, they got 1.6 billion views. Wow. And that's not fair. It's not fair. And what NBC News doesn't mention is what John Nolte of Breitbart pointed out. He said, I found that none of these new 7 pointed out the lie that Israel bombed a hospital in Gaza. However, guess who did deliberately spread that lie? All of these but one spread that lie. So the mainstream media is realizing they're losing their grip. Even though they're trying so hard to rewrite history, they're losing their grip. Also allowed to run free on Twitter, now known as X, is our friend Tucker Carlson, who is giving truth bombs everywhere. His latest was with Vince Everett Ellison, and he starts out by saying, you'll be shocked to learn this, but it turns out the whole George Floyd story was a lie. Wow, he would never be able to break that on mainstream media, but on Twitter he is. And even it gets better. On the 23rd, you got Elon Musk calling for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine, a normalization of Russia relations enough to at least talk peace at the table in the name of the future of human civilization. So it's exciting. There's some exciting stuff going on. And it's involving hundreds of millions of people, and Elon is leading it. We also have a wonderful recent Trump endorsement, this one by Perry Johnson, and who was running for president, bows out and says, Trump is our man, and Trump responds with just a beautiful couple sentences about Perry Johnson and how he admires Perry and how together they will make America great again. So Trump is winning with endorsements. MAGA is also winning in literature and at the theater. What's coming out literature-wise? Very shortly, on the 21st of November, Marjorie Taylor Greene is dropping a big book, and I'm sure will turn heads and help a lot of people to understand what's really going on. Also, this week, we have the movie, Police State. Some have already seen it. Oh,
Yeah,
has it already passed? Yes, okay.
No, well, whatever.
It's good.
It's how do I put it? Kind of like a scary movie. And just like a scary movie, there was news that came out about Obama and his personal chef drowning, and Judicial Watch pointed this out. On the 24th, that new records show that Barack Obama was at the emergency scene of his personal chef drowning. So there's just a lot of people not saying anything about what really went down, which just makes it look all the worse. Also, what is a blessing is that people are waking up to the truth about some of our institutions of higher learning and their anti-Israel, just anti-Semitic leanings. Now, this was pointed out by CNN, of all networks, and they said, Harvard and UPenn donors are furious. It may have a financial domino effect. That is good news. Now, why is it of such tremendous importance that donors wake up about these anti-Israel things? Here's why. Because, and the Jerusalem Post told us about this years ago, U.S. Jews contribute half of all donations to the Democratic Party.
Yep, that's true.
They contribute about 25% of what the Republican Party gets. But when it comes to the Democrat Party, we're not talking them funding it at 10 or 20 or even 40%. 50% of the money comes from Jews, and they're now seeing the Democrat Party not defend them, not stick up for when there's violence against Jews in the street. And we, of course, don't want any violence toward Jews, and they need to run to the Republican Party is what they need to do. But they're waking up, and we hope they'll wake up. We're also winning big time in the polls. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Look at what's going on in the swing states. Trump up by 5 in Georgia, up by 4 in Arizona, up by 2 in Wisconsin, up by 1 in Pennsylvania, up by 4 in North Carolina. Wow! This is great. This is great. And when you think it couldn't get any better, okay, I graphed this next one. This is what the GOP primary looks like right now. This is President Trump. It's like, oh my word.
Oh, the GOP.
They are spending millions against Trump, and it's going nowhere. It's actually amazing. People are watching this thing going, how many tens of millions, excuse me, I'll lose my voice, how many tens of millions will they spend to watch him just continue to ascend? It is amazing. And so what's going on is them trying to cling on desperately while Trump continues to press ahead. That's what's going on.
Look at the
Yeah.
sound.
This is a great
Look
picture.
at Scott, I love it.
Great picture. Also interesting in the polls is what's going on with the youth. Okay, this is President Trump, President Biden. This is the youth, 18 to 29-year-olds. He leads a little bit.
Yay.
But look at this next chart. This is the 30 to 39-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. This is big. This is so big. Look at this big break. Praise the Lord. They're waking up. And there was much rejoicing, okay, on that one. There was big time rejoicing. And even in states that have been leaning Democrat for so long, take a look at New York State. This is from Rich Barris. He said, when you look at 2020 to where Trump was polling then and now, it's increased 14 to 26% in liberal New York City. Among black voters in New York, it went from 4% up to 19. Among Hispanics in New York, from 14 to 34. Among white voters, 36 to 43. And this is refreshing. Among women in New York State, went from 27 to 45. And even out in the suburbs, in the burbs, from 36 to 44. Yeah, and Rich just ends by saying, wow, folks, wow. And Trump also dropped this just to let us know that he's heard about RFK Jr. and he's cool with him in the running, how he's winning the three-way race with RFK Jr. in the polls. So he's fully aware of everything going on. Also great is that we are winning against woke companies.
We are. Yes.
And it's just awesome to see.
Focus ground up.
Imagine about the biggest company in the world, right? Coca-Cola. Well, Ted Cruz points out you have Black Lives Matter support on your website. Do you realize how they support Hamas? And they quietly deleted the language on their website after he called out their group's pro-Hamas stance. Very quickly, they fell in line. Another company that tried to go woke, that's almost going broke, Victoria's Secret
Sad.
tried to go totally woke. And you see article after article saying they had to halt it. They had to ditch prioritizing wokeness.
Yeah.
Even the Daily Mail saying, you go woke,
Go broke.
you go broke.
Yeah.
You know, and they wanted woke really bad. They had Megan Rapinoe as one of their models. What are they thinking? They really wanted woke, but it's not working out. We also have good news regarding the 2024 election. What's going on there? Well, look at the enthusiasm. President Biden addressed the nation about the Israel situation, and it drew fewer viewers than when President Trump had his final episode of The Apprentice. I mean, that's really bad. His season finale of The Apprentice was only on NBC, and it got 6 million more people than Biden could get with a State of the Union kind of address. And you have to understand, at this point, President Biden is a walking advertisement to vote Republican. I mean, there's photos coming out where they're so sad, you can't even put words with it. It's just so sad. It's unbelievable.
Nursing home.
They're just letting him go, and the optics of it are so bad. Also, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene saying now, as of the 20th of October, we have direct evidence linking Joe Biden to money laundering from foreign investments. So it's bad. It's not going well for Joe Biden at all. At all. Oh my goodness. All right, who keeps putting these Trump 1 signs everywhere? Oh, and she's riding on a horseback. She's showing the whole stadium about Trump 1. Wow.
The Broncos? No.
It's pretty serious.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was-
And there's some stuff that is helpful that's just not going away. What's not going away? January 6th is not going away no matter how they try to cover it up. And one of these things that is driving the attention is a young man named Derek Evans, who wrote on the 21st, 1 year ago today, I was released from federal prison where I was held hostage as a January 6th political prisoner. Today, I'm running for Congress so I can take this battle to their front door, the same way they brought it to mine. I'm the only elected state legislator in the county who had the courage to peacefully and patriotically stand with Donald Trump on January 6th. I'm 100% loyal to President Trump and can't wait to help him save America. So that is awesome news. He is running for the 1st District of West Virginia.
Yay.
Also, don't know how I feel about this, but he is truly bringing attention and heat to January 6th. We have Jacob Chansley now writing a large article about how he proves January 6th was a deep state psyop. And so January 6th, it just continues to bubble up in the news media.
False flag.
Another thing is not going away, and what is that? Election integrity. Good old election integrity that the Democrats want to just try to quietly make go away is not going away. Why? Because they just released the findings from Harris County, Texas. What went on? Oh, the Texas Secretary of State did an investigation, an audit, an election audit of Harris County. And what did they find? Well, they found that the county had 9,000 more voters in the registration system than what they reported to the state. Almost 3,600 mail-in ballots were sent to voters, but not reported to the state. 27% of their polling locations failed to return or properly complete necessary paperwork. Keep in mind that the critical races in Harris County were separated by a few thousand, or only a few hundred votes in many cases. And a lot more discrepancies were found. This more than enough for a judge to force an election redo. So,
God, do it.
yeah, election integrity
Oh, God, please.
is
God,
there.
please do it, Lord.
Also interesting
Jesus.
is pushback out on the hip hop scene against President Biden. Here is 50 Cent. Now, 50 Cent, he's got a lot of followers. How many? Well, Instagram, he has 30 million followers. And he posts a photo of President Biden doing absolutely nothing to help the country. And he says, "Hey, Joe, get the F up, man. We're in trouble, man." And so he's just kind of reminding America that President Biden is not the guy. Is not the guy you want.
Sleeping on the job.
So what really is happening among the rappers of America, the inner city of America? This is what's happening in America. And what does it say? Oh, coming soon to a neighborhood near you.
I love it.
Yes, so that's the good news.
Trump.
That's what's going on. Whoa, what's going on here? Press the button. That's what, let's all tell him to press the button.
Press the
that button.
Press the button.
Woo. Okay. Also, we have great news.
Yeah.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders decides to continue to push conservative good things for the people. And she signed an executive order banning woke, anti-woman words like pregnant people from Arkansas state documents.
Go Arkansas.
Good.
She said, it's the left that decided woman is a dirty word, that decided we needed to toss out basic biology and basic grammar.
Yeah.
So she stood there and basically said, no, we're not gonna have that
Go
woke
Arkansas.
talk. Not in Arkansas.
Nope.
Also pushed back, this is very interesting, DC Drano says, you Republican rhinos that went after Jim Jordan for Speaker, we know who you are. We're calling you the Swamp 22. And just so you know, we're not done with you. Enjoy primary season. So he's letting them know that these guys are not off the hook.
Drano.
Not yet. Not in any way.
DC
Why?
Drano.
Because votes have consequences and people on True Social are paying attention. All right, next, the Louisiana election points to very good news for MAGA. Remember, Landry won in a blowout fashion. And it's very, how do I say, informing to hear what Debbie Dooley, she's one of the Tea Party formers for the state of Georgia, has to say. Debbie says, this shock victory spells catastrophe for the Democrats on the national level. Here's what she saw, first-hand account. She said, what I saw in Louisiana, and I saw it before the election, is a lot of enthusiasm of MAGA voters in Louisiana, she explained. There was a constitutional amendment that prohibited private funds like Zuckerbucks from being used to run elections. That passed with 70% of the vote. I looked at that and I was like, wow, Democrats should be in meltdown mode.
Yeah.
It bodes catastrophe for Democrats in 2024. She explained further. She says, Trump excites the base. He brings in voters that don't normally vote in a lot of elections. And this is something that's interesting. She says, not one of the polls, and it really is, this is fascinating. Not one of the polls that were taken in Louisiana before the elections Saturday showed Landry winning without a runoff. Not one poll showed that. Not one pollster showed that. And the fact that he won without a runoff and the polls were way off, I strongly believe that the polling data for the presidential election are off as well because they're not surveying these voters. A lot of the Trump voters are not being polled or surveyed because they're not likely primary voters. And I think the polling data is way off on the national level in Trump's favor.
Good.
Woo! Oh man, I think Debbie Dooley has something there. And for the last bit of mind-blowing news, what happened today? Revival in the House is what happened today. We saw it with our own eyes, and it gets better the more you look at it, the more you investigate, and there was much rejoicing because of one man standing up. Matt Gaetz decided to stand up. So
God bless
it
him.
caused a great change. Different people tried to step in and fill the void. Steve Scalise thought maybe I'm the one. No. Oops, I didn't get the right name for this next one. Jim Jordan tried, fell short. But to rally the troops in the midst of all this, you had Steve Bannon come on and he typed out, MAGA will not be denied. So people came out of the woodwork, even RINOS from the state of Minnesota. Yeah, Tom Emmer.
Yeah.
Tom Emmer come out, say, maybe I can do it now, maybe I can do it. And Trump decides to send out a text and just say, no, sad day for America if this man ever touches the gavel. And it was very interesting how Jack Posobiec summed up how Trump's statement affected things. Trump iced Emmer today, Soleimani style. Straight G, straight gangster. So Emmer didn't know what to do. And during all this, interesting thoughts are percolating among conservatives. Clandestine is like, man, the GOP is either incompetent or quietly exercising genius. I joked early on that the House should just keep holding votes all the way till January 2025 to ensure Congress can't send any more of our money to Ukraine or Israel. Can't fund World War III without a budget. Keep stalling. So he's there. But then we had last night. What happened last night? Oh, something beautiful happened last night, right? They decided to lift up and choose this man. And the first thing Mike Johnson did last night was ask the Republican caucus to pray with him. That's who we are getting for the leader.
Amen.
We're getting this guy right here. What's he like? What kind of positions does he champion? Well, let's take a look. Mike Johnson describes gender-affirming care as nightmarish and surreal. This is barbarism. It is the mutilation of children, and it should
Be prohibited.
not be. It should be prohibited. It is anything but affirming or caring.
Right.
Yes.
How did the Republicans feel about selecting him? When the reporter tried to introduce a gotcha question about, hey, you were involved in trying to overturn the 2020 election, the Republicans surrounding him drowned out the reporter with boos. Boo! Shut up! And they shut the reporter down.
Good.
It was awesome to see. So he was endorsed that very night by a lot of people. By Jim Jordan. He said, the House needs a speaker. It needs to be Mike. He's done a great job. Bannon came out and said, man, Mike, even tonight, become the designee. Go right to the floor, vote tonight. So Bannon endorsed him. And then, very interestingly, Gaetz had reasoning why they loved Mike so much. He said one issue in particular that attracted conference members to Johnson,
Yes.
are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Was his support for single subject
Yes.
appropriation bills.
Yes.
Woo! Or spending bills that fund one department at a time rather than a spending package, rather than these massive spending levels. And he goes on to say, we adore him and think he's going to do a great job for the country and for the right reasons. Look at this next phrase. Gates would know, Mike Johnson has not been bought or paid
Yay.
for.
You can't be
Mike
compromised.
Johnson does what is right. And he knows how to lead. Mike is the former chairman of the Republican Study Committee, the largest conservative caucus in the House. And even this morning, people are still like, who is Mike? What? So DC Drano, he said, I was admittedly on the fence about Mike Johnson being speaker. So I went to see what Adam Kinzinger thought about him. He hates Mike Johnson and thinks that he orchestrated the fight against the 2020 election fraud. So that's all I need to know. Mike Johnson for speaker.
Thank you, God.
So all this is going on. And then, like the father of the party, with gentle words, with words like apples in pictures of silver, President Trump releases this. I really hope that political colleges watch how he speaks and what he says. This is coming from President Trump. We would do good just to review how he does it. He says, congratulations, this is before the vote. Congratulations to congressional Republicans. Yesterday was a big and very important day. It gave us a quick and easy way forward with 5 candidates who are beyond reproach and represent the absolute best there is in the Republican Party. Even the fake news media is impressed with what took place yesterday, and more importantly, with the candidates themselves. Congratulations to Representatives Byron Donalds, Charles Fleischman, Mark Green, Roger Williams, and the ultimate winner of yesterday's vote by a significant margin, Mike Johnson. I'm not going to make an endorsement in this race because I could never go against any of these fine and very talented men, all of whom have supported me in both mind and spirit from the very beginning of our great 2016 victory. In 2024, we will have an even bigger and more important win. My strong suggestion is to go with the leading candidate, Mike Johnson, and get it done fast. Love, DJT.
Thank you, God.
Amazing, amazing. And so here we have the new speaker. A great difference from the old speaker. This is the American Conservative Union.
Yeah.
He's got a 92% rating with them. Kevin McCarthy had a lifetime score of 53.
There you go.
Do you see a difference
That tells
here?
it all.
40.
It's amazing. And even more important, you know when you're ushered into office, if you were ushered in with a great overwhelming vote, you now have a mandate to start marching out and implementing things. Guess what kind of mandate he was given? How does that look?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single
Yeah.
Republican saying, yep,
Yeah.
go do it.
That's right.
Go do it.
Right.
And it's important to point out at this juncture,
Thank you.
we do have a rocking Congress, and they just need to be set free.
Yes.
We have a lot of good Republicans still in
Yes,
Congress. We have maybe the best freshman class we ever had in 2022. Here's what we inherited in 2022 for Republicans in the U.S. House. 2 judges, 4 Navy SEALs, 2 policemen, one of them a New York City cop, 3 former mayors, one of them who was the youngest mayor in the USA, another mayor among them wants to try President Biden for treason. We got 2 Apache helicopter pilots, a Marine Corps doctor, a nuclear submarine officer, a guy from the 82nd Airborne, a nurse who is also a Navy helicopter pilot, a Marine Corps reservist, a valedictorian of Manhattan College, a national collegiate debate champion, a guy who owns a motivational speaking business, and a guy whose parents started a Bible college. And that's just the freshman class.
Wow. Wow.
And so they are going to be now, I think, set free in new ways. all they wanted was a
Charged.
chance. And McCarthy, due to all his backdoor dealings and
Oh, I
smarmy
know.
behavior, was not going to give it a level playing field and give these new guys a chance. But there is a new
Thank you,
speaker
God.
in town.
Thank you, God.
There's a couple last quotes from Mike Johnson. It's a flashback. He says, yeah, Twitter was basically an FBI subsidiary before Elon Musk took over. Here he is calling out Nancy Pelosi after she had ripped up President Trump's State of the Union speech. You'll remember that. He said she committed a felony when she ripped that paper up. Wow. Flashback. He keeps always referring back to the Constitution, by the way. He says, listen to the language carefully. It's expressly written in the Constitution. The president shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. I just listed a small sampling, just the tip of the iceberg of the credible allegations and the mounting evidence that shows that Joseph Biden has engaged in bribery
God
schemes.
protect and bless the
That's
city.
the man that's
Yes.
leading
Yes.
the House of
God bless and
Representatives.
protect him, Lord, in Jesus' name.
You're not afraid to go after Merrick Garland. He says, you don't recollect whether you talked to anyone at FBI headquarters about
Oh, yeah.
investigation into the president's son? You don't know this? So he was done playing with Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
A couple other quick things. He was instrumental in getting the Texas amicus brief going in 2020. He voted against certifying the fraudulent 2020 election. He served as a member of Trump's legal defense team during the 2019 and 2020 Senate impeachment trials. He was one of Trump's lawyers. And he's extremely conservative on social issues. Get this, in 2022, he introduced the Stop the Sexualization of Children Act, which would prohibit federally funded institutions from promoting child sexual Isarian and transgenderization.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yesterday, just a representative from Louisiana. Today, arguably the second most powerful man on the face of the earth. Why? Because he has a Congress behind him. He is able to shut down wars or start up wars through the power of the purse. And we're finally going to see what this power of the purse is. It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
It is a
Oh, yes.
totally brand new day.
It is.
And his friends was Amy coming?
Calling us, he was calling America a constitutional republic and standing up for President Trump even when it was unpopular. He said, you know what, there was a coordinated campaign against the social media companies that came from Biden himself. They targeted any opposing COVID viewpoints. So they'll point that out. He was like, man, what they did was wrong in shutting down free speech.
Thank you, God.
And the biggest thing of all, and this is what's going to
Oh,
set him
yeah.
apart,
Yeah.
and why I think
Yeah.
he could easily be the best Republican speaker we ever have had,
Ever.
is this reason. With him there looks to be no more continuing resolutions or omnibus bills.
Yes.
We're going to single subject spending bills.
Right.
And there's very few people that have the steel cojones to actually do this thing. I'm not sure even Jim Jordan would have. He's been in the House too long. I'm not sure Byron
Yeah, he's too
could have taken those kind of arrows. But this guy, Mike, I think he will. I think he will.
Yeah.
And Washington hasn't seen any single subject spending bill since the 1990s. And so, there was much rejoicing. And so this week, God has given us Christmas, Easter, our birthday, and Thanksgiving all at once. And for this, we praise Him.